Okay, class. So here we are back with another important lecture. And for today, we would be talking about the section 2.1 of your Edexcel IGCSE's Biology, and this is 2.1. And we would be discussing about the organization of the human body. Not all the living organisms, but most of the living organisms that we people have got with us, so they are complex, and we can't understand the complex thing until or unless we look onto it, their basic unit, and that basic unit was cell with us, and we have looked onto it like many aspects of these cells that we were talking about. So in this specific topic that we are beginning at the moment, now that basically is entitled as organization of the human body. So what we people are gonna do that we would go from the basic cell structure and then ultimately we are gonna be forming an entire human body out of it. So the way we people gonna combine the cells and all of the other stuffs together, and we will be making a complex body of an animal. So ultimately, or in to be very specific, the human body when we people are gonna be making. So this would be parallel to the organization of the human body, that how our body is organized in terms of the organs and the organ systems, and then ultimately when we people are gonna be forming an entire human body out of it. So the situation here is that our body, this possesses the cells, then it has got the tissues, and then it has got the organs, and ultimately when they're gonna combine with one another, so they're gonna be making this complex body of us. So here I would like you people to be looking on toward the basic flow chart that we have to follow, and you have to remember this from the paper point of view, that how can this organization of the human body would be brought about by. So we're gonna see in a while that whenever there would be the presence of the similar cells, so these similar cells, I'm gonna group them up. And when I'm gonna group them up, so that I would be making a tissue out of it, and the cells that we have in one particular tissue, so this is gonna have one particular role, one particular function. Moving onward, when we people would have different tissues, and when these different tissues, when they're gonna combine with one another, so you see that the tissues they're becoming different. So all of the tissues they would be rendering a different role, but overall, when they would be making an organ by that, so that organ would be rendering one specific role, one specific function. And when we would have some different organs, their anatomy or their makeup would be different. But when different organs they combine with one another, so they're gonna be making an organ system out of it, and that organ system is gonna be performing one specific role. And when I have to be making this complex organism out of it, so what I require is that there has to be the presence of different organ systems. And when we would have different organ system with us, so we would end up making an organism out of it. So here we would look on toward the cells, and then we would be looking on toward the tissues that they form, and then ultimately we would end up making a complex organism out of it. So if you guys see here, like here I have made the epithelial tissue, okay? And every individual cell that we have got in this epithelial tissue, now this is entitled as the epithelial cell. And as far as this epithelial cell is concerned, so this epithelial cell has got the role in terms of providing the protection to your body. So here is one epithelial cell. Here we have got the second epithelial cell. Then I have got this third epithelial cells. And when all these epithelial cells, when they would be combined together, so they would be making the epithelial tissue, and the epithelial tissue has the same role as of the epithelial cell, that this epithelial tissue is again gonna provide the protection to the inner linings of your organs. So this is what you need to have an idea of, that this is the epithelial cell, and when they combine together, this is epithelial tissue. So whatsoever is the role of this epithelial cell, it would be same for the tissue that this is forming. So overall, the role is that of providing the protection. So if you have to be remembering the definition of this, so for the tissues, like the examiner is gonna ask that why come this specific thing is a tissue, so you would say that it comprises of the similar cells and they are performing one specific role. Likewise, when I'm coming over here, so here you see we have got this particular cell with us, and the cell that we have, this is the muscle cell. And as far as the muscle cell is concerned, so this is gonna be doing the contractions and relaxations, and by that you people would be able to move. And when I am gonna combine multiple cells together, so we are making a tissue out of it, and that tissue is a muscle tissue, and that muscle tissue again has got the same role as of its individual muscle cell that we have. Okay, so here you see, like further, if I'm gonna proceed with it, so here we have got this cell lying over here. So this cell is a glandular cell, and as far as this glandular cell is concerned, so this is gonna be producing the secretions not only in the digestive system in the form of digestive juices, but these glandular cells, they are also there in your pancreas. Okay, and they are also there in some of your in some parts of the brain as well. But wherever the word glandular cell is coming, so the thing is that it would be producing some secretion, and the nature of the secretion could vary. Now when I am combining these glandular cells together, so we are making a tissue out of it, and that is a glandular tissue, and it would be having the same role of doing the secretions. Now in our specialized cell section that we have done in case of the specialized cells in the human body, so over there I gave you people an idea of the neuron cell or the nerve cell, and the role of the nerve cell, no matter if this was sensory or intermediate or the motor neuron, so they were carrying the information in your body in the form of an electrical impulse. So if I am gonna combine many nerve cells together, so they would be making a nerve tissue out of it. So if you guys could focus, so epithelial tissue has got one particular role in terms of providing protection, muscle tissues in terms of contraction and relaxations, and these glandular cells making the glandular tissue and then producing the secretion that then likewise the nerve tissue that we have got. So when all these tissues, I'm gonna combine, so these tissues, I'm gonna combine them up, and we would end up making this one specific or the specialized organ, and this specialized organ is the stomach with us. So you people would know that this stomach that we have formed, so this has got this organ is actually made up of different tissues, but when this organ would be made up of different tissues, but this would be doing one particular role, and that role or the specific role would be in terms of digesting the food. Like here in the inner lining, we people are going to have these epithelial cells or the epithelial tissues, and within the walls, we people are going to have the muscle tissues that are going to be exerting the force on the food that had to be digested within the lumen or within the empty space of the stomach that we have got. And for sure, we people are eating a lot of complex food substances, so they have to be digested with the help of the digestive juices, so that would be produced by the glandular tissue. And you people may have noticed that at some part of the day you feel like your stomach is growling. So that means that it is empty or you people are supposed to be eating the food. So here you have got this nerve tissue in the stomach, and this would be carrying the information to the brain, and from there you people would get a sensation of hunger and you would eat it up. So you see that I have combined many of these tissues together to be making one specific organ, and that organ, no matter it has got different tissues, but is performing one role, and that is in terms of digesting the food particles. Now we have come from combining the similar cells to the tissue. Now I have combined different tissues to be making an organ, and now we would combine different organs, and that would be making a system out of it, and that system is gonna be an organ system. Like let us be um, remaining to this aspect. So now I am gonna take different organs, and these organs, when they would combine with one another, so they would make an organ system out of it. Like if I were to go to an example in context of the food digestion, so the specialized system that we have is a digestive system, and it has got multiple of the organs in them, and they would have one specific role, and that role again is in terms of breaking down the food. So you people would be aware of these words, that in this system, digestive system, we have got multiple organs. Like we have the mouth, we have the pharynx, and it's the esophagus, and then we people are gonna have the stomach. Then we have the small intestines, and the small intestines further comes the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum, and in the large intestine we have cecum, colon, and then ultimately we have the rectum, and the opening of the alimentary canal, like this also is referred to as an alimentary canal. So the opening is anus with us. Like if you people are gonna be looking on toward the diagram, so here you see like this is the mouth that we have. Here we have the pharynx. Moving onward, this tubular structure that we have, which is carrying the food from the pharynx to the stomach, is the esophagus. And then here we have the stomach, like the one we have looked above. And here we have got the small intestines, and we have got the large intestines. And you see, This digestive system has got many of the organs, and each organ that we have here now it would be made up of different tissues. And different tissues that we have in them, so they would be made up of similar cells in them. But overall, these different organs, they have made one organ system that is a digestive system, and it is rendering one special role, one specific role or particular role, and that is in term of digesting the food particles. So this is not only the case that we have with the digestive system. Like we people have got some other organs as well, organ systems with us as well, and we have this respiratory system. You see, we have got multiple of the tissues in it. Like we have got the nose and the nasal cavity, then we have pharynx, and we have larynx, and there comes the trachea, then we have got these bronchus, and then we have got these bronchioles, and then ultimately we end up having the alveoli with us. So different organs are making this respiratory system, and they have one role, and that would be in terms of bringing in the oxygen gas into your airways, and then taking the respiratory gases out of your body. And the discussion doesn't end here. Like here, I have drawn for you the excretory system that would be responsible for the excretion, whereby we are supposed to be removing the waste materials out of your body. So here we have the kidneys, and we have the ureter. Here comes the urinary bladder, and then ultimately here we have this urethra. So again, different organs, they have made the excretory system, and that excretory system is responsible for removing the waste materials out of your body. Likewise, in this course, we would be talking about the cardiovascular system, the nervous system, the integumentary system, which is also the skin system, and then we're gonna look on toward the reproductive system. So you see, all these systems, they are gonna be making an entire organism out of it. So this is something that you need to know in terms of the organization of the human body, and you should be clear about your elaboration of the cells, the tissues, the organs, organ systems, and then ultimately ending up with a complex organism that we are now.